Hey there and welcome to another video of Des Illustrates. Today we are gonna look at this little trading card that I painted for my Patreon. This card is the card for the December, so if you sign up for the 1st of January, then this card can be yours. It's a bit far away and I didn't plan that, but I had a little bit of an unplanned break for 2 months on Patreon. So that's why this card is already here and the time that you can get it is so far away. The month from 1st of December, the ladybird is that I painted a little while ago, that also is on this channel. I will leave a link in the description, but that one will be for the 1st of December. It was planned for the 1st of September, but yeah, that is all a little bit different now. We are painting a little dun beetle. I think I saw this photo on Pixabay and it was really cute and I just wanted to paint it. And I also really liked the new style that I am trying out for the Patreon cards, and I thought that he would be really cute in that style. So yeah, that's mainly why I chose this one for this month. Here you can see me sketching out the little beetle. Sometimes the camera is a little bit out of focus and everything, so I apologize for that. But I film it with my phone and that has a automatic focus. So yeah, that's why that's happening. The sketch fell in place pretty quickly for me. I did have to rearrange his bum a bit, I believe, but that was about it. And I planned on not having it like a super scientific painting, but also with line art and everything. So the painting is more stylized. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, that's something I've been enjoying in these cards, painting them. And also the simplicity in the color schemes that I was using for the ladybird and the mod that I painted. I lost the name, but those I both used this same black. It's oxide black from Van Gogh, and it separates really pretty. So I used that one, and in the other two I used the red for the ladybird and the spots on the mod. For this one I didn't have to use red, so I used some a neutral tone, I believe, from Van Gogh also. It's a bit of grey with a purple undertone, and I used a bit of brown on his antenna and I believe on its eye. So yeah, I like that simplicity in the colors and everything, and I also liked the line art that I did on the previous ones, so I wanted to bring that back here. And another thing that I really liked in the previous ones was the touch of gold, so I'm also bringing that back in this one. Here you can already see in the front of the beetle that the oxide black is separating a bit. You can see this granulating feature that it has, and I think that's a really pretty something in this color. This is also the color that they use for their dusk colors. I talked about that before. I really like their dusk purple, or dusk violet it's called, I believe, but I love that color. And they used this black as a base for that color. That's why it separates so pretty. So I do want to experiment a bit more with this black and mixing it with several colors. While painting, I try to remember the highlights and everything that was on the beetle in the picture, but not keeping it really strict. I just added a lot of water to the paint for the areas that were lighter and that would have highlights on them, and made the rest darker. And I tried to make the paint do its own thing a bit. Here I am starting with the neutral tone. You can see I started a bit dark, and I decided that I did want it to be a bit lighter. So you can see me spreading it out a bit more so that it's not so dark on the face. I could have used the oxide black for the bottom part of the beetle, but in the photo it wasn't the same tint of black, and I also wanted to have some separation of colors in the beetle since I didn't have anything to use a really striking color on like I did in the previous two. But in the end, spoiler alert, I am really happy with how this painting is gonna turn out. And I am happy that I chose for a different color on the bottom because it made it more distinct that he had a shell on top and that it was really his body on the bottom. As you may have noticed, we skipped a bit ahead in the painting. I didn't film the line art that I did around the beetle and in the text, because I did that with a dip pen and I used the same watercolors that I used for painting him, but then really dark, and I have to turn the painting a lot for that, and I also have to be really on top of it, so it's kind of hard to film that, so I left that out. But I just did it with a dip pen and I went over all the sketchy lines that I already did, and I added a few here and there to show where the highlights and the dark shadows were bending the shield a bit from the beetle on top. And then I went back in with some more paint to fix a few of the shadows, especially in the paws. I didn't have much definition yet. And when I was happy with the base layer of all this, I wanted to add some more texture, because again in the picture I saw that and I really liked it, that the shield wasn't smooth, it was really textured. So what I did, I went back in with my dip pen, and just like I did with the line art, I used watercolors really darkly, and I loaded my dip pen with a brush with that, and I created the textures on top of the shield, and I made that way the texture of the shield. I already did a bit with the oxide black that separated on its own, and granulates, and I used that for this very reason, but I wanted to have some more texture even after all that granulation already. The next thing that I added was gold. I used a gold stripe in the name of the beetle, the dung beetle, and on the circle that you are seeing sketched out behind the beetle. And I used this with Finetec paint, that's also kind of a watercolor paint, and for loading the dip pen I used the same technique as I do with my normal watercolors. I load my brush, or I did it with the brush. I believe I didn't do it with my dip pen. I was a bit confused there. But you can also use the dip pen for this, although I do find that the Finetec metallic paints are a bit harder to load a dip pen with than normal watercolors, because they seem a bit thicker. At least if you want to apply them opaque, you of course can water them down more, but then the gold isn't that opaque. And in this instant I wanted a really opaque gold to be in the circle and in the little line. So I think that's why I chose to do it with brush. And I don't know what it is, but adding a circle like that behind a painting always adds something extra for me, and it really finishes the painting off. And we also still have to erase some pencil marks that you can see around the beetle. But first we are gonna do some highlights with the gel pen. I often use white watercolors or white gouache, or sometimes I use white Ecolina. I really like to use that. But for this little painting I chose the dip pen, or the gel pen I mean, because it is so small and I don't have the tiniest brushes. I don't even own a zero brush, I believe. So I decided to do it with this pen because I could make smaller marks, and I wanted some really small subtle marks. And also, if you, when it's still a bit wet, if you go with your finger on it really softly, then you tone the white down a bit too. So I also liked that option with this pen. You can see that I highlighted the textures on the shield a bit more, and I added some hairs on the legs, and that's about it. Now we're gonna erase some shavings, but if you, or some pencil marks I mean, if you are interested in these cards, once again it's for my Patreons. It is, the original is for the 1st of January, where it will be in one of the tires. You can check out my Patreon. I will leave it down in the description if you want to. And it will also be in a package. I believe that it will be in the December package too, that you have to sign up for by the 1st of December, but I'm not 100% sure. I have announced it over on my Patreon with a special post for that, and I will also be announcing it on my Instagram, so keep an eye out for that too, if you are interested, of course. If you're still watching, I want to thank you very much for watching, and if you are one of my Patreons, I want to thank you very much for supporting me over there and with this channel. I hope to see you all next time. Bye!